Okay, good morning everyone. The Edu Nishmat, Rabbi Yosef Moshe Medresh, and Shai Simcha ben Menachem Mendel, and Menachem Mendel ben Elchanan, and Farafega bas Shmuel. We are now on Hey Amud Aleph, still looking for an opinion that we can find, the Tana that we can find that holds that a Hanocha and an Akira from a Makom that is less than Arba'ot Tvachim is Chayiv, is a real bona fide Akira and a bona fide Hanocha. Because otherwise we have a problem. Our problem is that the hand of the Balabayit, of the wealthy man in the Mishnah, and the Ani, the poor man, which are transgressing and violating the laws of Hotza'ah, of transporting out from one Rishut to the other Rishut, from one domain to the other, in the Mishnah, is taking place with their hands. And the hands of the Ani and the hands of the Balabayit are less than 4 Tfachim. So the Gemara is now, we're about that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines from the top. Okay. So rather says Reb Zera, Hamani, who is this Mishnah going like? Again, what are we looking for? We're looking for Amanda Amar, someone that says that even less than 4 Tvachim is considered a Hanacha or an Akira. Okay? So the Gemara says, Acherivi. That is the Shita of Acherim. Acherim is the name of a Tana. Titanya Acherim Amadu B'Komo B'Kibel Chayav. If a man is standing in one spot and he receives, which means, more loosely translated, he catches. Chayav. The one who threw it is Chayav. If Reuven throws the ball to Shimon, you hear, Rab Daniel, you hear this craze? If Shimon throws the ball to Shimon, and Shimon doesn't move, just catches like this. Himself. Oh, you're already ahead. To himself is later on. No, he throws it to Shimon. Shimon catches it like this.
Who throws it to Shimon?
Reuven.
Reuven is in what domain?
They're both, let's say, in Rishut HaRabim. But we know that in Rishut HaRabim, thank you, even 4 amot is chayav. As long as you make an akira and a hanacha, we know what that is. Akira is to uproot it from its place, and hanacha is to let it land. You're chayav. Now, what happened was, it didn't land on the floor, it landed by Shimon. So if Shimon didn't move, he's there, and Reuven throws it to him. No, they're both in the Rabbim. But as long as you throw it 4 amot in the Rabbim, it's also chayav. Akarim come on. But now, who is chayav? Reuven is chayav. Why? Because Reuven made an akira, and he wants to make a hanacha in Shimon's hands. So he does. So it's basically like, I give you this.
Yeah, but I don't have to take it or catch it.
No, but your hand is out there. If I would hand it to you like an Mishnah, right? So over there it's throwing, and over here it's giving. And over there it's from one Rishut to the other, and over here it's from Rishut HaRabim, so it has to travel. But Rishut HaYachid to Rishut HaRabim doesn't have to travel 4 amot. As long as it's from one domain to the other. But here, in this story, it's one domain, it's Rishut HaRabim. So there, in order to get out of your domain, you need to travel 4 amot. But after that, those little differences, everything else is the same. So we see here then you can throw it to your friend Shimon as long as he doesn't move, and you're going to be chayav. Okay? Because it landed exactly where you wanted it to land. However, just 1 second. Look at this case first. Akamim komo v'kibel patur. But if he makes a running catch, it means I throw the ball that way. And now Amnon, I throw the ball there. And now Amnon runs and he catches it.
How far was he?
What?
Further than the 4 hours?
No, it doesn't matter. As long as he was, meaning to say, had the catcher not ran, the ball would have landed somewhere else. When at the moment that I uprooted it, where was I thinking it's going to land? On the ground. Yeah. But this guy decided to show his athletic prowess, and he decided to make the catch. Okay, did I want it to land over there? Did I have in mind intention that it would land there? No, because it landed in his hand, and his hand wasn't in the trajectory of the ball. So therefore it landed somewhere where I was not intending it for it to land. So I'm patur. Because I made an akira, but the hanacha that I made, I never had kavanah for. And we know that the malacha needs kavanah. I wasn't planning it. I was throwing it there. It was going to land over there on the ground. That's where my kavanah, my intention is to land over there. You decided to come and you grab it with your hand. In your hand instead of the floor. That's not what I had in mind. Right? The one who caught it, since it was a running catch, that means that I never knew you were going to run there and kick the catch. So my intention was that it was going to land on the floor. Therefore, where it landed was not in my mind. That the place that it landed, I never dreamt of. So therefore, I didn't have kavanah for the end of that malacha. So I'm patur. However, if you don't move, and I just throw it right at you, so I wanted to land right. So there, I made an akira and I made an anacha, so I'm chayav.
For both. The catcher gets anything on the
No.
other?
I don't understand, because my intention was to have it land on the ground.
Does the catcher get anything? That's interesting. What?
My intention was to have the ball land on the ground, which is a half
5A1.
Exactly, but it didn't land on the ground.
If the guy all of a sudden blocks it, okay,
Well, that's what he did by making a running catch.
block, but we said the intention counts.
No, but you have to actually finish. You have to finish what you intended. But what actually ended up happening was that he made a running catch. So my intention didn't come to fruition.
Yeah, intention is not enough.
So intention's not enough. So you're going to say, wait, but the action is enough. No, but that action I didn't intend. So you're missing. Okay. So right. But the main point of this Gemara, what the Gemara is really trying to derive here, is in the case where I am chayav, where you didn't move. Where you didn't move, and I wanted to land in your hand. There you go. Throw. I throw. And it lands in your hand. Perfect throw, perfect catch. Then the guy who threw is chayav. Because he made an akira, and he wanted it to land, and it did land. And it landed from his power. His koch. Now the problem is like this, Rabbi. Where did it land? In the guy's hand. It doesn't say it landed on the floor. He threw it to his friend. What does a friend use to catch his hand? The hand is less than 4 atfachim. And achirim say that he's chayav. Aha! So we have just found the culprit, so to speak. We found the great achirim that holds that less than 4 tfachim you're chayav. So we're going to say that he is the author of the Aram Mishnah. Our problem in Aram Mishnah was that the ani and the balabait keep handing it to each other into their hands, and their hands are not 4 tfachim. We thought that to be problematic and not large enough. But here we find that achirim don't have an issue with that. Okay, let's continue. So the Gemara says, "Habe'ina nanacha al gabi makam dalid." V'leka elash mamino labe'ina makam arba. So we see from achirim that you don't need 4. So the Gemara says, no. V'dilma hanacha hu dala be'inan. Ha'akira be'inan. Like we mentioned before with Rabbi Akiva. Okay? The Gemara is saying, and the Gemara said this yesterday, so you'll remember that you can differentiate misvara in reason. Logically, you can differentiate between the fact that Achirim say that the hanacha can take place on an area that's less than 4 tfachim doesn't necessarily mean that the akira can take place. Remember? Because we said the akira is the main part of the melacha. Because the akira is the transportation away from one rishut to the other. The hanacha is just allows the akira to be completed. Remember we said it yesterday? What is the main part of the malacha? The akira or the hanacha? So some people would say, whatever, what do you mean? It's 2 parts. Half. Nothing is more important. But the Rishonim say, the Gemara feels the akira is the main part of the malacha. Because it's the hotza'ah. You used to live here. You were situated here, you're out. It's just that if you don't land, you haven't completed the exodus from one domain to the other. In order to complete the exodus, you need to land. But it's just almost like conditional. It's not the essence of the malacha. The essence of the malacha is the akira. So therefore the Gemara is saying, the fact that you found an opinion that says that if someone catches something on his hand less than 4 tefachim, that's good enough, that's good for one case in the Mishnah. Where the ani takes the item and he places it into the hands of the balabait. So the hanacha was less than, okay, we found the achirim, it's nice. But what about when the balabait is holding it in his hand, in his house, and the ani says, oh, can I have some of that? He says, sure, take it. And I make an akira from an area that's less than 4 tefachim, that you still haven't proven to me. And that takes more. That's a greater opinion, that's a greater chidush, it's a greater novelty to say that, and we haven't found that yet. To say that even from an area that's less than 4, you can make an akira, and that's considered an uprooting of an item when it's sitting on something that is so not real. It's less than 4 tefachim, so to speak.
Or just general?
General. Whenever you have an Isur.
You said domain doesn't make a difference.
Right. I'm just using that case because the case of the Mishnah was from one domain to the other. But it would be the same thing from in Rishut Rabim. I don't think it would make a difference at this point. The point is that if you're making an akira from something that's less than 4 tefachim, you haven't proven that to me. You only prove from the case when the guys are having a catch that the catching, you need more logic, stronger logic, to say that for the akira, and you haven't proven that. So that's what the Gemara is asking. That's question number 1. The second question, the hanacha nami dilma de pashat kanafeh v'kibla. Dika nami hanacha. And the Gemara says, second of all, I don't even see the proof that you proved from Achirim. What was the proof, Rabbatai? What was the proof? The proof was, you remember, that if someone catches it in his hand, the guy who threw it is chayav. Oh, so you see that's a hanacha, even in his hand. Says, who says that he caught it in his hand? Maybe he took his jacket. This is 4 tefachim, Rabbi. You see? Maybe the case of Achirim is when he caught it in his cloak. Who does it say that he caught it in his hand? It says if one man throws it to the other man, and the other man catches it doesn't say in his hand, a little hand. It says he catches it. He catches like this. So then you're chayav. He says, yeah, throw. He throws it, catches it. Okay. So there you have a hanacha. You can't be a proof from Achirim that a hand. Our Mishnah says the word hand. But over here, if you look back, it doesn't say a word about where he caught it. It just says, if he's idle, he's sitting in one spot, Amad b'komo, chayav. So, who told you it was in his hand?
Hi there.
Hello. So now, you ready? Amar Rabbi Abba Matnitin Nami Kegon. They put the words in Shiniach Hagale Traskel. The Gemara says, you know what? We're looking and looking and looking for a Manda Amra. We can't find one. So you know what? Let's just change route here. Let's just say that the Mishnah doesn't really mean the hand. The Mishnah is talking, our Mishnah with the Ani and the Balabayit, we keep demonstrating it with my hand, the Amnon's hand, back and forth, back and forth. No. Our Mishnah is talking about a basket. Okay? And the basket is 4 tvachim. Let's just get out of this whole problem, says the Gemara. We can't find the Manomer. So the Gemara says, what are you talking about? Hayadok tari. It says his hand. What are you changing the Mishnah's words? So the Gemara says, Tani trasko shabiyadai. It means the basket in his hand. It doesn't mean his hand. So the Gemara says, number one, Hatinach traskel. B'shut hayachid. That would be nice. Rabbatai, remember you represent, all of you. I represent the Ani in the Rishut Rabim, you're the Balabait in the Rishut Yachid. So the Gemara wants to say, it's talking about with a basket. So in the case that you're receiving it there in a basket, that would be nice. I'm going from Rishut Rabim and I put it into your hand. It doesn't really mean your hand, it means the basket in your hand. Okay, everything's great. Because then I'm going from Rishut Rabim to Rishut Yachid. What's Rishut Yachid? The basket. Where's the basket? In Rishut Yachid, everything's great. And the basket itself is a Rishut Yachid. But the Gemara says, but what are you going to do with the other case? The case where you, the Balabayit, takes his hand, takes the item on Shabbat, takes it, and places it in the hand of the Ani. We have to change hand. Hand doesn't mean hand anymore, because hand is less than 4 tvachim. So it means that the Ani had a basket, the 4 tvachim, and he puts it in the basket. Says the Gemara, you know what a basket in the hand of the Ani in the Rishut Rabim is? It's a Rishut HaYachid. So it means that you carried from your Rishut HaYachid, you made an Akira and a Hanacha in a Rishut HaYachid. That's not Chayav. We're trying to explain the Mishnah's case where you're Chayav because you transported from a Rishut HaYachid to a Rishut Rabim, but if you put it into a basket, you know what the laws, the halachic status of that basket is a Rishut HaYachid, a private domain. Why? Says the Gemara, who? Says the Gemara, why? And if, now the Gemara doesn't explain yet, but let's just wait another second. The way the Gemara explains it is because if you think it's not, then you're not going like Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda. Because we see clearly that he holds it is. Let's see what he says. Titania, and then we'll answer your question. Let me look Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda, Titania, Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda says, Nietz kana b'reshut harabim u'v'rashot traskel. Okay, you stick a reed, like a little stick, into the ground, right? 1, 2, 3, you wedge it in on Shabbat. Or it doesn't matter when you wedged it in. That's not the point. Boom. You put it in. I'm going to use this if you don't mind. Okay? This is the stick. Yeah? This is imagine this is a public thoroughfare. I stick it into the ground. It's a very thin stick. And then I take a nice basket. The basket has a lip. And I put it up here. Imagine there's like a wall. Then I take the item. Let's read the case. On top of it there's a basket. Zarak, if I throw, v'noch al gabav, and it lands on it, chayav. I'm chayav. Why does Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda say chayav in that case? What in the world did I do? Oh, but the problem is that it wasn't 4 amot. In Rishut Rabim, you need 4 amot. I have to, in order for me to be chayav, I need to transport it 4 amot. but it was right next to me.
It was right next to you.
I went like this. I took a little ball. I went, threw it right into the basket. I'm chayav.
But it's its own domain. It's another domain. It's
Oh, says Michael Teretz is because Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda holds that the basket is not a public domain; it's a private one, and there you don't need 4 amot as long as I go from one domain to the other. Chayav. So why is he considered that little basket a private domain? So Rashi explains because what happens like this: there's a rule. Maybe you heard of it before, called gud achit. Gud achit means that, again, the gud achit means that if you have a mechitza higher than 10 tfachim, okay, higher than 10 tfachim, then you know what happens to the mechitza? Let's say mechitza means a partition. What happens with the partition is that it just keeps going down. Let's say the partition ends over there, or ends over here. Goes straight down, it ends. There's nothing here. So the mechitza keeps going down. It's a law. Once it's already there, it just extends itself from halacha l'Moshe Sinai. So now this little basket on top of this stick, it has walls. Okay? So now those walls go down to the ground. Once they're down to the ground, look, now they're 10 tfachim. Now I'm in so now they're a little private domain. So it's a private domain. So now it's a private domain. So now I'm chayav if I throw this onto the basket. Okay,
That's if a basket has walls.
Right, but a basket does have walls. That's what we kept mentioning. The basket has that's why it's called a basket. It's not a plate. It's not a plate. It's a basket. A basket has walls. So and then the walls go down. So now it's 10 tfachim high fence. 10 tfachim high fence makes a private domain because the area inside is 4x4, and the board and the fence is 10 tfachim high. So now we're in business, and now the guy is chayav. So Rabbotai. So now, if we say now go back to the Mishnah. How are we trying to make the Mishnah work out, Rabbotai? What are we trying to say? We're saying, we can't find, we don't know what to do with this hand business because it's less than 4 tfachim. So the Gemara kind of surrendered and said, okay. The case in the Mishnah is a basket in his hand. All it means hand, it means in his hand there was a basket. Okay, fine. So if I have a basket in my hand and I'm the ani, and you do the akira in your home and you place it in the basket, the Mishnah said that's one of the cases where you chayav midoraita. Yeah, really? Why? What'd you do? You went from a private domain into a what? Into a private domain to a private domain.
Aren't you going through Rishut Rabim?
First of all, it doesn't say that. Could be that I'm right at the edge. It's number one. It doesn't say that in the Mishnah, right? And second of all, if you're going through Rishut Rabim, then
That's what we had yesterday.
look at Rabbi Kiva and Rabbanon, right? I don't know what to do with that kasha. I would say that I'm standing. It's good. I hear what you're asking. Yeah, I hear what you're asking. According to one man Amar, because of kluta. Because of kluta. I don't know if you say kluta if you're still holding on to it, unless you throw it. I don't know. I have a lot of ways out, but the simple way out of your question, I'm not sure. Yeah, borderline. Fine. It doesn't say that it's not borderline. That means the Mishnah is even including borderline cases. And you chayav. So why you chayav? It's from Rishut Yachid to Rishut Yachid. to make everything good and getting away from this kasha, you don't know what to do with it already. You're surrendering and saying basket. All right, no hands. And basket's going to make it good. Basket's going to make him patur. I hear you, kasha. So then, says the Gemara.
By the way, I think it's important to know that I was asking this in my mind, I just got answered it, is the fact that the pole, okay, it was 4 tefachim wide, but you were talking about the whole thing. We have to assume that it's 10 tefachim high. You can't, because what if it's not 10 tefachim high?
Right, but then, aha.
You understand? So because it could have been 5 tefachim high, and then what happens? That's not necessarily, yeah?
Look at the Gemara's teretz, Michael. Gewaldig. You hear what Michael just said? So that says the Gemara. Let's just finish the question. The ik Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda. Because if we follow Rabbi Yossi Yehuda, Pashat Balabayit et Yadol. L'chutz. The Gemara is just saying now what I just explained. If the Balabayit extends his hand outwards, v'natan l'toch yado sharani, amai chayiv. Why is he chayav? A karban chatat. He means he was over on Isadoraita. Meshut HaYachid to Reshut HaYachid kamapik. He's taking from Reshut HaYachid to Reshut HaYachid. Right. So the Gemara says, Afilu Teimer Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda, Hatam Lemala Miyud, Hacha Lemata Miyud. Exactly your answer, Michael. The Gemara's answer your teretz. That's only when it's higher than 10. But if it's lower than 10, then it's not going to be a reshut hayachid. So what does it become?
Wait, so the whole thing with what we got from the Shabbat from the walls, they go all the way down. That's only downwards and not upwards.
It is upwards. It is also upwards, but that's only when you first have a mechitza of 10.
You have the mechitza tefillah starts.
Yeah. Here says the Gemara. Since it's less than 10, so where are you? Where's this basket? It's within the airspace of the Reshut HaRabim. Okay? So therefore, even if you could just keep going downwards, you're not going to reach 10. Because let's say you're by the 7 mark, just for example. You go down, so you'll be 7. But that's not a Reshut HaYachid. Tosfot actually gets involved over here. He says, okay, so therefore what? Therefore you're chayav? Because you're putting into a basket that's not really a private domain, so therefore it's what? A public domain? Taisa says it's not a public domain either. It's a caramelist. Because it's its own little private island, which can't be a Reshut HaYachid, because we just said it's not 10 high. But it's not a Reshut HaRabim either. It's a midpoint, so you shouldn't either be chayav. Maybe it should be an Istur D'Rabbanan that you carried from Reshut HaYachid. But the Mishnah says chayav. So Taisa says, what's the Gemara so happy with the answer? I'm just saying, I wouldn't have mentioned this Tosfos, but I see the Olam is already, they're holding it by Tosfos. So, this is what they are. So, Tosfos wants to say that there's a new Yesod, if you want to write it down. There's a lot to talk about, that there's no such thing as a Carmelite, which means a rabbinic domain, which they said is a rabbinic domain with kalim, with vessels. Since it's a vessel, it ain't a Carmelite. What it is it's just part of the Reshut HaRabim.
You can do it.
No, so you can't do it if you're in a Reshut HaYachid, because then you're transporting from a Reshut HaYachid into Reshut HaRabim, and that is the case of the Mishnah, and that's why you're chayav if you do it, because you're putting it into the basket. Again, we need a basket here. Why do we need a basket? Because otherwise the hand is not 4 tefachim. So we got 4 tefachim. But the basket has a law like Reshut HaRabim, because it's not 10 tefachim high. And it's not a Carmelite, says Tosfot, because it's a keli.
Oh, okay, so it doesn't become its own private domain, it just becomes part of the outside.
And the outside of the public domain. And therefore you chayav.
Okay, got it.
Okay?
It's the same idea. But
Exactly.
It's a different domain. Okay.
Okay.
I can go home now.
Meaning, right, exactly.
Okay.
When we say that something that's high, remember we said something that's higher than 3 in the public domain gets like its own little makim patur, it becomes a caramelist. That's only if it's a little hump that's made out of the ground in the Rishut Rabim, or something. But a basket is a keli that just becomes part of the Rishut Rabim. This is a big yisoid from Taisus. You can spend a long time on this, but let's go ahead now. So the Gemara says we're really behind. So I don't know if we're going to be catching up today and any progress. Meaning we're just learning Torah. That's the greatest progress. But hopefully, Bezrat Hashem, with the help of Hashem, between tomorrow, if we can have a quicker share, and Motzei Shabbat, so by Sunday we'll be holding with the daf. But the main thing is Yomi. Okay? So the Gemara is like this. And we hope to do a daf today also. It will be Daf Yomi today, but I don't know if it will be the Daf Yomi. Okay? Okay, so the Gemara said, let's go weiter. So now, okay, so basically, right now, if you have to teach this Mishnah to a child, and you have to tell him the truth about Hashem's Mishnah, what would you say? You would explain it to him if you had to write a commentary on the Mishnah, which is what the Gemara is, essentially. The Gemara just said the way to understand the Mishnah is that the Ani goes to the basket of the Balabait, and he goes to the basket of the Ani. Basket. Why? Why basket? Why not hand? Because the hand is not 4 tvachim. So the Gemara says Rabbi Avo doesn't like this answer. He says it's not like that. It doesn't say basket. You say, oh, it says hand, the basket in his hand. It doesn't say that. He doesn't feel good about this answer. Sometimes the Gemara feels good. He says no. Kachale le Rabbi Avo mi ketani terasko shebi yado vayado ketani. It says yado. Elo amar Rabbi Avo kigon sheshusu yado lemata migimel lekiblo. Rabbi Avo says, you know what happened? The Balabayit lowered his hand less than 3 tefachim from the ground.
Did you want to disprove now the basket again? Or no?
No basket. He's scratching basket. If you scratch basket, Rabotai, you're back to the problem. The hand is less than 4 tefachim. So Rabbi Avo says, you know what? The case of the Mishnah, whether you like this answer or you don't, it must be that the Balabayit or the Ani, whoever is involved in the receiving end, is talking about that they lowered their hand to less than 3 tefachim from the ground. Now there's a rule. Anything within 3 tefachim of anything else is like a magnetic lavud. Lavud means if I have to attach this item, this piece of schach on a sukkah, to this piece of schach, I'm just giving an example. If they're less than 3 tefachim, they're attached. If my hand is less than 3 tefachim, also vertically, from the ground, it's like on the ground. So your whole issue is that my hand is less than 4 tefachim. Not true. My hand is actually on the ground already. Why? Because I received the item, or I took the item off your hand, which was also less than 3 tefachim, less than 3 tefachim off the ground. And therefore, if it's less than 3 tefachim, it's like it's on the ground. So if your hand is on the ground, then the item is situated not just on your hand, but on the whole ground. And the ground is more than 4 tefachim, and you're in business. That is what we're surrendering, and we're saying that must be the case. Even though it says hand, Rabbi Avo says don't get out of the word hand. It says hand, so you have to learn it with hand. So he says, okay, it's the hand, but the hand is less than 3 tefachim from the ground, and therefore it's as if you took it off the ground when you placed it on the ground. So it's more than 4 tefachim wide. If your hand is more than 3 tefachim off the ground, so then the hand is not part of the ground.
Right.
The hand is maybe the person is resting on the ground, but the item is less than 4 tefachim. But if an item is within 3 tefachim from the ground, then the hand that's within 3 tefachim is like it's already attached part of the ground. So when I place it in your hand, which is all the way down here, it's like I placed it on an area that's way more than 4 tefachim wide. Because on the ground is the whole world.
So the same being if I would be like holding you over a table, 3 tefachim.
Let me think about that. Right. I think so, yeah. Very good. Exactly. I think so. So now
So what, hold on. So now, okay,
So now-
I'm above 4. Let's say we're all both in B'shut Haravim.
No, we're going to our Mishnah. We're trying to explain our Mishnah.
Okay, so
The Ani and the Balabait.
Okay, fine.
So you now start off, you hold it in your hand. But your hand is...
Above 4 right now.
No.
So,
Your hand, imagine this is the ground. Because I'm not
Am I giving it to you right now?
No, I'm going to take it from you.
You guys-
Hold it like this.
Yeah.
Now, imagine that this is really the...
Right.
You lowered your hand.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, sir, I'm very hungry. Can I please have a little of that fruit?" You say, "Sure." But your hand is so down there. This is the ground. We'll just make pretend. So now your hand is not considered its own like little thing that's resting on the ground, but it's
part of the ground.
It's part of the ground. So the ground is more than 4 tefachim. So when I make an akira, I'm making an uprooting from an area that's 4 tefachim.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And the same thing is in the other case. When you are chayav, because you're putting it to my hand, I'm the ani, I'm like, can I please have a little bit of that? So you're taking it off the ground in your house, that's the akira, and you're placing it in Rishut Rabim, because you're putting it all the way down on the hand, which is basically the ground.
Right.
So that's the answer of the Gemara.
That's the answer right now. So the Gemara says, Va'omed Ktani, what do you mean? It sounds like you had to sit down to do this. How do you get your hand so low? It says in the Mishnah they were standing. So how are you going to get that to make sense if they're standing? The Gemara says b'shoche. He bends himself over. So the Gemara says v'iba yitema beguma. Another answer is, imagine this. Imagine what the Gemara is saying just to make it. There's a hole in the ground. The guy's standing in the pit. So when his hand is standing out of the pit, that's why he could be standing erect, and there's no problem. He's standing as high as he can. He's 6'7", this guy. But his hand, he's all the way deep inside, and therefore his hand, that's like right over the pit in the Rishut Rabim, could very well be within 3 of the ground.
Yeah, but these are not.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Says the Gemara, "V'ibayitema benanas."
It's a midget.
A midget.
Okay, these are not, but that's not a case of Mishnah is going to prove based upon these little things. It's like never happens. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like
Okay. As long as the Mishnah can make sense. 1 second. I like what you're asking. I'm going to address it in a second. So the Gemara is like this. Basically, okay, 3 ways out. Either I'm leaning over, I'm in a pit, or I'm a midget. Okay? The point is, I have 3 ways to make my hand, while I am standing, because the Mishnah says the word standing, still be within 3 of the ground.
It's very low.
Omar Rava.
You have to really
Yeah, either bend over all the way, be a real midget, or be in a very deep hole.
Correct. Yeah.
Omar Rava.
Yeah.
So Rava says his problem is like this. His problem is not so much. His problem is not so much that they're very interesting. Come on. That's not Rava's problem. If you look at Rashi, I'll tell you, that's not such an issue. The come on is not such an issue. Rava's problem is like this. Ich will tanu lashmi'inun kol hani. And the way that Rashi explains it is as follows. All the Tana wants is a simple case of an akira from the Balabayit to the Ani, right? So, now, the issue is, 2 people, their hands are not 4 tefachim. And you can't go basket, okay? You can't go basket because the Gemara's kasha is before. So what are you going to do? Now, so the only thing we could do is to have the guy bending over or midget. He says, no, there's a very simple way of what to do. The Mishnah could have just said that the Ani is standing outside with his cloak and then just follow the rest of the Mishnah. And the Balabait was holding his cloak. Why did the Mishnah was so adamant and stubborn, the Tana, to say the word hand, and to make us, and now we get us stuck, because hands are less than 4. And therefore we have to make the hand part of the ground, and the only way we can do it is with midget, hole, or bending. I have a very simple eitzah. Eitzah means a piece of advice, a tip for the Tana of the Mishnah. If he wants to make the case to work, he could have just said, cloak. The whole case. Mamish, read the Mishnah straight. Omed, standing up straight, no holes, no midgets, no bending over. The Ani puts it into the cloak of the Balabayit, and the Balabayit out of the cloak of the Balabayit, and the Balabayit puts it into the cloak of the Ani. If you would have said one word, cloak, instead of hand, we could have just had a very normal, nice Mishnah. Why did the Tana have to make such? It's like if the Tana didn't have a way, then Rava doesn't mind the fact that it's a midget. He doesn't have such a problem with the answer if there's no way to make it work. But there's a very simple way the Tana could have just spoken about a cloak.
Why do you bring no cloak though? We're talking about hand. We're trying to put the whole.
I know, but why did he? That's precisely the question. Why did he have to illustrate the story of Chayav from Reshut Yachid to Reshut Abim with a hand and make it so complicated? He could have spoken. If you would explain your child how you're Chayav,
I get it.
you would have. He's making it so nice for us. He's calling one a poor man, one a rich man. So you should always remember who's outside, who's inside. So that it should be very simple and very well illustrated. So he should have also spoken about a cloak. It would have been very simple, the case. He had to say the word hand. What was compelling him to say the word hand? And once he said the word hand, he has to make the funniest cases up. That's why Rava doesn't like this answer. We haven't come. So Rava says the great Yisod of Shabbat is coming right now. Yisod means
hand could just represent taking something.
the Gemara didn't feel so. Rabbi Revo kept knocking that. He said, first the Gemara tried to say hand means the basket in his hand. The Gemara says hand means hand, and a hand is less than 4 tefachim. So the Gemara had to resort to the fact that the hand is part of the ground. But the Gemara said, but it says he's standing. How do you get your hand? Oh, he bent all the way down.
How big is 4 tefachim? Wide?
This is 1 tefach.
1 tefach?
Yeah, one tefach, 4 inch, like this.
What if you were a giant? You have a massive hand.
A massive hand might be 2 tefachim, 3, 4. 4 tefachim means from here to here. I'm saying, what's that? I hear. I mean, giant, midget, you're saying. Just once you do a midget, you do a giant.
I mean, you're talking about the times of the Torah, they were like giants. So why not?
I hear. Okay, so the Gemara is like this. Elo Marava. Whenever you see that word Elo in the Gemara, you know this is the end game. Elo Marava. I would give another shir today. I would give another afternoon shir if Adam wants. I don't know if Adam could come, but we have to catch up, and I didn't even do one daf today.
I'm done.
If just you can't make it, right?
No, I can't. I have to take my son at 6:30. Pick up at 8. It's impossible.
Right.
We'll talk about that.
Okay, we'll talk about it afterwards. Elo Amarav Yoda Shalom Chashuv Lekedalet Adalet. You ready, Rabbatai? This is a major piece of news. Rava says, you know what? There's no baskets, there's no midgets, there's no nothing. The Mishnah is exactly what it says. I put it into your hand, you take it from my hand, regular, normal hand. The hand is not for. Comes along Rava and says, a person's hand is significantly considered by people so chashuv that it's like a real chashuv area. Okay? What's the reason why less than 4 tefachim is not a bona fide space to make a hanacha or akira? Because people don't put things on areas that are less than 4 tefachim. I don't put this down over here. Do you know people that do that? People don't do that. You know why? Because since it's not an area that is wide enough for tefachim, it's going to fall. People don't like placing their items on such areas. But a hand is chashuv to a person. And therefore a hand has the same equivalent status and chashivut and importance as an area of 4x4. And the whole kasha goes away. Hands are different. That's the Gemara starts. So the Gemara says, V'chein ki ata Ravin, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, guess what happened? When Ravin came, he said over in the name of Rabbi Yochanan from Eretz Yisrael, the great early Amorah, the same thing. Yadosh Adam chashuv lo ka'ab al arba. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Okay, we're going back. We're going to move a little bit quick. You ready? Quickly. So the Gemara says like this. If you throw an item 4 amot in Reshut Rabim and your friend catches it. We had this before. In the name of Achirim. Chayav. The one who threw it is Chayav. Because where he intended it to land, it did land. It landed where he intended it. So he met Ma'aka Mashal and says Gemara. So what's your chidush exactly, Rabbi Yochanan? What are you trying to tell me? Maybe your chidush is that since the guy caught it in his hand, and his hand is less than 4 tefachim, the hand is equivalent to 4 tefachim. Yadosh adam chashuv l'ka'ab al v'ham Rabbi Yochanan adcha dezimna. Rabbi Yochanan just said it. Rabotai, didn't Rabbi Yochanan explain our Mishnah right now? Ravin came from Eretz Yisrael. He said that Rabbi Yochanan explained our Mishnah. Even though it says hand, the hand is chashuv like 4 amot. So why did he have to explain this chidush in a different way? He said that, he brought that out in a different way. By saying that if I throw an item, 4 amot in Reshut Rabim, into your hand, it's considered, I'm chayav. Why? Because your hand is considered 4 tefachim. You already said that. You don't have to say it twice. So the Gemara says, Ma'od detei mehanim yili, heichad achshol eliyadeh. Okay. What happens like this? If I consider your hand an area that I want to land my item, then I consider it a chashuv, a place that's chashuv. So if you're the Baalite, you stick out your hand and I say, oh, thank you, I'd like to give you something. And I place something in your hand. Then I'm giving significance to your hand as a good landing area. So therefore, even though your hand is not 4 tefachim, but I am making it important like an area of 4 tefachim. However, in the case of Rabbi Yochanan, in the Reshut Rabim, when I throw something, okay?
And the guy's running.
No, he's not running.
Okay.
He's actually not running. But the point is that I didn't really want it to land there specifically.
To land where?
To land in the guy's hand specifically. So what did I want?
But the case was that you did want it to land there.
Aha.
There was no other case, so I didn't want it. The guy ran to it. That's the case that you didn't want it.
True. What you're saying is true, Michael. But Rashi says, I'm just telling you what Rashi says. I hear what you're asking. Rashi says here that I didn't really want it to land in your hand. That's not my point. My point was that I wasn't trying to give you something. It ended up landing. The point is like this. I threw it up. Now, you were there already. You were the pit stop. You were there. You were standing there for the past 20 minutes like this. You were going like this. You were spacing out. So now, the other guy throws it in the air. He's not trying specifically to give you anything.
Who's he throwing it to?
He's throwing it in the air. He likes to see balls go up in the air and down.
Okay.
He's having a
land on the guy's hand.
So exactly what Rashi says. And it lands, so that happens sometimes, you go like this and the guy's there and it lands, but he's not moving. So right? So you have the you get out of the problem that he moved and it was going to land on the ground. It wasn't going to land on the ground. It was going to land there, but my point wasn't, I want you to have, I want really made your hand so significant. It's not like I wanted to land there. I wanted to go wherever it's supposed to go when I throw this. If the trajectory is in your hand, okay, whatever. But therefore, maybe your hand shouldn't be so significant anymore. Because the person who's doing the malacha, the thrower, never really made your hand so holy and great landing area. It's not like the story of our Mishnah where I say, "Oh, sir, can you please take this for me?" So I'm making his hand significant. So therefore I would think that maybe his hand is not significant. Komash Malon, the Chidush is, he's telling you, no, it is.
Yeah, because it's for him, not for him also. It says, Ve'ado, meaning his hand is considered for him.
It's so significant.
I know, but we don't. But it has to be also for the person doing the malacha.
Rabbi, no, it's so significant that
I have kavana to put it in an area that is chashuv. Otherwise, if in my mind it's not a chashuv place, so that means I didn't really have in mind to do a malacha that's chashuv. So you really have to go into the mind of the one who's being over, transgressing, violating. Okay?
So that's not a cloud, meaning
chashuv lo. But I would have thought, שיש לפעמים שזה לא חשוב לאדם שזורק. שהוא לא כיוון בדווקא שזה ינוח בידיך. שינוח. אם זה בידיך בסדר, אבל זה אכפת לי בדיוק היד שלך. Right?
אבל רב, יש לי שאלה. No, but say the whole point of it is at the end of the day, you're trying to show he's chayev. By showing its importance, you're trying to show that he's chayev. What are you trying to get to? I get what you're saying, but what are you...
Meaning?
What are you trying to explain the Mishnah, no?
I just don't like that all of a sudden you just changed the whole... They had it, the guy in the beginning, you said from the beginning, the guy had an intention. He's liable, he's chayev. Period. All of a sudden Rashi just says, nah, the guy just threw it up, and that's why it's still so important, because the guy put it in his hands. But that wasn't what we discussed from the beginning. Rashi's completely changing up the intention of the guy, what he wanted to do. That wasn't what he spoke about in the beginning. You're trying to do that to prove that even if he still threw it up and the guy got it in his hands, you're saying that the hands are still like its own importance. But that wasn't the original idea. That no, the guy's intention was he's liable because he's the one who's throwing it. Now you're using that case to do both. You're using the case of the throwing because now you're talking about the guy's intention.
Okay, I want to point out one thing. The Rabbi Yochanan's case, it doesn't say he's having a catch with his friend. It doesn't say Zorak Chayfetz Lichavero to his friend. It says Zorak Chayfetz. I said, look, I want to throw this. Woo! I throw it. Wherever it lands, I'm very happy. What I'm saying? Wherever it lands, I'm happy.
Okay.
So I'm in Rishut Yachid, and my friend's Rishut Rabim. Or we're both in Rishut Rabim, but he's 4 amot away. Either way that you could be chayav, right? So now, I'm not really throwing it at my friend, to my friend. We're not having a catch.
Because in the beginning we spoke about it, it seemed as that was what it was.
Right. Lav dafka. It just says, Zarak chayfetz, v'noch, and it landed b'toch yado shel chavero. So therefore, who said that I care so much about your hand? Your hand is such a great place. I never thought about your hand.
Okay, fine.
But in the case of the Mishnah, I did. I specifically look at your hand that's waiting for the item, and the Ani puts it into the hand of the Bala. Oh,
okay.
See, that's my airport. So that I can understand that it's chashuv. Okay? But if I just throw something in the air, and you happen to be in the area where it's supposed to land, so I have in mind, wherever it lands, if there's a real landing area, I have kavana to do it. I forgot it's Shabbat. So now I'm doing an Isra Deoraita with kavana, b'shogeg. I don't want to make mazid. We should always talk shogeg. Okay? Yeah, but that guy's hand, where it landed, is a joke, because it's less than 4 tvachim. So how do you get the joke away?
It's an important thing.
because important thing. But what made it important? It's only important if I say, "Oh, give me your hand. I want to put something inside of it." So there, I'm saying, "Oh, I want to put my fruit in there. Your hand is good enough for me. It's not a soda cap, which I would never do. Give me your hand." I look at it and I specifically, intentionally put it there.
Yeah.
But if I'm just throwing something in the
I
air,
don't think it's important.
I never made your hand so important.
Yeah.
So therefore, I would think maybe a hand is not so important. Komash malon. Even this is important. In everybody's mind, when you wake up in the morning, everyone's hand, whether you thought of it before or you didn't, you always consider everyone's hand important. That's the chidush. Okay? The problem is, Rabotai, that we have to commence the we have to finish the shit. I have to end. I have to go now. So now I have a plan. Well, let's make the plan when we turn off the video.